Welcome to the Eagle Experience, where I'm your host, Micah Small.
And I am your co-host, Halen Jones.
Today with us we have
Doug Forsythe.
Thank you, sir, for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate you. This podcast, this episode, is a very special episode to some. This is going to be our Veterans Day podcast. So, to all of our veterans out there, thank you. So, Mr. Forsythe, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a 55-year-old man. Started my life out in Mankato, Michigan, a little town of about 200. Grew up with parents that very much had servant hearts. Learned a lot of servant leadership from them. Decided at the age of 20 that I was going in the Air Force. I walked into the recruiter's office and asked him where did I sign my name, and took off for San Antonio, Texas. Got a wife and 2 children, one of which works here with us. Son is a youth pastor and another employment over in Columbiana, Alabama, but happily married man, 34 years, and wife has only made one questionable decision ever that I'm aware of, and that was me.
Yes, sir. So, what made you join the Air Force?
Well, once again, in that small town of Mankato, Michigan, there just wasn't a lot going on. I was fortunate, like I said, to grow up with parents that had servant hearts and taught us to do for others, and probably the one person, my mother was probably the one person that really taught that you need to do for others. You need to stand up, you need to do what you believe, and Dad pushed that issue, and he actually taught us that if we had it to do, learn to do it so we didn't have to ask others to do it for us, and that's been a blessing and a curse at different times because hard to want to work with other people, but going in the Air Force helped me to learn more about other people, other cultures, just did a lot for me personally as far as my personal growth and how to deal with and, the diversity of our country today and where we're at. So why did I go in the Air Force? To serve. It's what I was taught. Probably the same reason that I'm a minister.
Okay. All right, so what brought you to Little Calera, Alabama?
Well, employment brought me to Alabama. I moved here as a district manager for a corporation, 130 employees. Everything was going pretty well. Corporate restructures come along and, put me out of a job with that corporate restructure. So just went to college, started college, finished college, and did a little teaching as a long-term sub over at Columbiana Middle School while their teacher was called up for the Iraq War. And so I spent that year with 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students. Career Discoveries class. It was a lot of fun, enjoyed it. And when opportunity came open here at Calera High School, received a phone call from the career tech due to the fact that where I've spent most of my time in skilled trades, most of my life has been some form or another of skilled trades. So came here to teach the carpentry class, the program, and it's been fun.
Yes, sir. What effect do you think you've had on the kids?
Some of them positive. Some of the students that were the biggest struggle in the classroom are now today friends on Facebook, and it's fun to watch how they've grown, what they become. I mean, there's no such thing as a bad student. There's no such thing as a bad kid. It's just them growing pains, those bad choices that we sometimes make, and we need that redirect at times, all of us do, to help us go down the right path and be productive members of society. So
Yes,
that effect that I have on kids, some very positive in the moment, some we don't realize until long after high school's over.
Yes, sir. Got anything to add on that one?
No. I can't think of much to add to it. He said it perfectly. Everybody has their different ways of how they do things, how they grow up, so.
Got you. So, COVID-19, how did it affect you?
Well, right off the bat, how COVID-19 affected me was Thanksgiving last year. 2 weeks prior to Thanksgiving, wife got diagnosed with COVID. A couple days after I got diagnosed with it, my daughter got diagnosed with it. So the biggest effect it had on me was Wife's sick, daughter's sick. I was diagnosed. I never felt anything. The symptoms just weren't there, but the number one thing that caused me grief was the very fact that I could not go see my mommy at Thanksgiving. Just, that's tough. They're all in Michigan. That's where the family's at, so it's just a couple times a year we get to go visit. So what has COVID done? Well, makes you rethink priorities. It helps you understand that there's a bigger picture out there, a bigger world, things that are going to affect you that you don't have any control over. Find ways to move through it, makes you stronger, and keep pushing. Realize that there are students or other people in your life that, this is going to hit them hard. It's going to affect them in a variety of ways. And honestly, probably the hardest part now is watching the way that it did affect a lot of students. It's been a struggle for those that this school was their safe place. And when they couldn't be here, that makes it tough.
Yes, sir. So, morning for you, what does it look like? A morning routine?
Morning routine, 5:15 out of bed, just getting ready for work. Come to the school, greet the students, usually have a lot of fun, a lot of sarcasm. Come to school, go to work, put it in front of them. Probably one of the biggest things that I hear from students is what they've learned is work ethic. Come in, make it happen. Don't make excuses. There are times when I'm slack, when I miss something, but most days it's pushing. It's pushing students to be more, helping them to understand that each one of them can be more. So just that morning routine is get here, don't be late. I've been late to this facility once in the 8 years that I've been here in the morning to start my duties, and that was due to a train broke down on the track. So
It's impressive.
Yeah.
work ethic. Getting to work on time and being ready to go means more than anything else. It shows people that you actually care to be doing what you're here for.
Being on time. You hear that, Micah?
Yes, sir, I do. Yeah, I will try that a little bit more.
Tardy is wrong.
Yes, sir.
It sounds like somebody's jabbing you a little bit right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes he's right there with me, though, so it's all right.
I'm less than you, but it's okay. It's okay.
Let's go.
Yes, sir. So, family and friends, big things to you. Hunting season, I know we were talking about it earlier.
Oh, yeah. If it's hunting season, you're going to find me in the woods if at all possible. It's peace, it's quiet, it's Bible time, it's enjoying nature. Mostly, if I'm going deer hunting, I'm going to shoot the deer, I'm going to process the deer. I don't take it anywhere to have it done. From the time the deer hits the ground to the time it goes on my table, it usually sees no hands but these or my wife's. I just take care of it all. Love the outdoors, love the wild game. It's just peace.
Yes, sir. You seem like a very peaceful, at-home kind of man. You don't let most things faze you,
No.
if anything.
We all make a choice. We can make a choice with everything that comes at us. We can choose to just face it and accept, find a way to process it. There's just really there's things that bother me, but most of the time you will never know outside of my home what those things are, because there's a way to process it. There's choices to be made to process it, find the good in it. It might take a couple days to find that good, but just stay even. That's all I can say. Letting other people choose your attitudes and responses, that's a good way to fail.
Yeah. That's something I like to work on. Usually, like trying to be able to control my own emotions and things that I can control. It makes you feel better. It makes you appreciate things better in the long run. So.
Well, there are those times where it's a struggle. The struggle is real for all of us at times, but you find what it is that's going to give you that peace, what's going to help you to make it through those days.
Yes, sir. Yeah, mind of peace is a thing that I've always tried to work on more and more. Even when I think I've reached it, it's always something that reminds me I haven't. So, just a stop isn't a choice for me. I always got to keep it on the go.
It's a journey.
Oh, yeah.
Life is a journey.
Yes, sir. Well, speaking of life, your 55 years of life, what's some advice that you would give to a 16, 18-year-old in school right now?
I guess the 16 and 18-year-olds, I guess the best advice I could give to them is to realize that when they think they're getting away with something, they're probably not. It's probably got more to do with the adults in their life are choosing to accept that every action doesn't deserve a reaction, but every action you make, it affects you, it affects people around you. One of the things I tell the students when they come in is to realize that the only thing you will ever, it's my belief, really own is your name. And what do others think of? What images come to their mind, what thoughts, what memories come to their mind when they're thinking of you? And they hear that name. Are you one of those people that we want to spend our time with, that we want to grow with, that we respect, that we want to have around us to help us be better? Or are you one of those folks that are making a name for yourself that you really don't want to have?
Yes, sir. Your name, it carries weight all throughout the world. So, I know for you, you've probably been a few places in your lifetime with the Air Force. What discipline, or what do you think you got from the Air Force that you wouldn't have got from just going straight off to college?
Well, I received a lot of discipline as a young man growing up because I like to choose the wrong path every now and then. But as far as discipline with the military, what it taught me, just the variety of people, listening to different folks, different cultures. I guess if I were to just put it into single out one thing that really had the most effect on me in the military was being part of the Honor Guard team at Maxwell Air Force Base. That was my first permanent duty station, and being part of that Honor Guard team, traveling around the state of Alabama, doing funerals for deceased military members, the 21-gun salute, the carrying the casket, folding the flag. I guess if it was one thing that really made an impression on me, lifelong impression that I won't forget, and hearing taps, I can't make it through taps without crying. It's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's that one thing. What's really important? Well, it's the people that serve. It's the people that put their life on the line, that gave up time with their families to ensure that you, too, and I can be sitting here talking right now. It'll get you.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people can't get past is the death and what sacrifices most have made. Because for me, I know, like, sometimes I just look past what my parents do for me. I just think sometimes I should be given that, and sometimes I forget that not everything in life, or not anything in life, is just owed to you. You gotta
Not a
earn it.
thing.
So yeah.
Not a thing.
Yes, sir.
So not necessarily moving on from that, but like just going into some of the things that you do personally throughout the school. So we have a segment called Keeping Up with the Eagles, and I know that, I don't know if you've recently, well, not because of COVID, but recently Skills USA, I know that was something that you did, correct?
Skills USA we're in that program every
Mm-hmm.
year. We like to call it a club, or what
Mm-hmm.
it's referred to as a club, but it's really an organization that helps people learn leadership skills and job skills. It just adds on to the curriculum for NCCER. So skills is just something that we do every year.
Mm-hmm.
We have some competitions we go to, prepared speech, interview, the carpentry aspect of it as well, competition. But probably the biggest thing as far as the school goes and the program goes, we haven't been able to go the past couple of years due to the COVID stuff, but the team build competition, we've had really good success. The students have done really well. We were there 4 years. The first year we went, they took first, and then each year after that they took second. us to have first place every
Mhm.
year because the students really did a good job. But, that builds that teamwork experience in itself. So hopefully next year, people have found their way through this COVID stuff and realize that, skills, that job, that team build competition is actually really important. It means a lot to the students.
Mhm.
A couple kids that left here 2 years ago, I just got a text message from one of them. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but asking me, would we ever go back to team build again? And I mean, that's the plan. That's where we want to be. How some of this stuff affects us, it gets rough to understand and take sometimes, but we'll get back to it, and we'll go back to winning. Students do a good job, so.
I want to see it. I would love to see it.
Yes, sir. So I know they're building a whole bunch right now throughout Calera, but mainly within the high school. Can we see you out there building anything?
In high school, anybody can walk into the shop at any given time and walk into that shop and see what's there. Get an idea. I mean, right now there's 7 shooting houses being built. Most of the material in those shooting houses is donated. Company in Columbiana donated $25,000 worth of material to us at their cost is what it is. So, having that resource there for us is a definite positive,
Mhm.
big positive for our school system and for the program. So there's, there's cafeteria tables. If one of them breaks, take it in the shop, take it apart, fix it, weld it. Chromebook carts, they come in, put them together. It's just a variety of things, real world, real time stuff that the students get to do and learn the skills. So works really well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So it seems like you're teaching these young men and women how to build that great foundation within their life and be a positive effect. So I think that's something nice and something good to see.
It's a lot of fun.
Yes, sir.
The battle of the wits most days is what's really fun.
Yes, sir. Do you want to move into the next segment? Or?
Yeah.
All right, hey, stop right there, Taylor.
All right. Okay, so going back into it, this is our veterans, special veterans podcast episode. So next Wednesday, the day that this will be released, we'll be having a veterans program for our veterans. It'll be during school, I'm pretty sure. So you should get an invite to that if you are invited. And that Thursday we also, be having our first basketball game. What were we gonna say?
Yeah, by the time we finally go, we would have been done with the first round of playoffs
Yeah.
and finished for it. So
Mhm.
it's going to be something nice.
Hopefully, game that next Friday.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Forsythe, you're a man that seems like he's a pretty just straightforward guy, but do you think there's anything that most people misunderstand about you?
Well, I'd have to say probably right from the get-go, most every year, I probably scare the students when they walk in because I am that straightforward. But it typically comes down to in a couple weeks' time, they figure out that I am going to be straightforward. I'm going to be very honest with what I see, what I expect. I have students. Number one, probably the biggest, is the safety aspect of being in the shop. I don't want to see anybody lose any fingers, lose an eye. And that's a struggle for young people coming in that haven't been in that atmosphere. But probably that number one thing as far as misunderstood is the heart. I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you hard, but it's because I love you. No other reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. So, well, we're going to move into a segment called Off the Beat. It's our trivia section, so I'm going to test your brain cells a little
I
bit.
don't have any.
That's all right, neither do I. You ready for the first question?
Sure.
Alrighty. And pull out my little handy dandy answers.
I'll show it to him.
No. I think my sticky note just stuck to my other part of my sticky note. Look at that. Anyway, so the first question would be, what was the first advertised toy on television?
The first advertised toy on television. How about erector set?
I'm sorry.
What was it?
Mr. Potato Head.
I knew it was one of the Toy Story things.
Potato Head.
How many sides does a none-a-gun have?
How many sides does a non-gun have? How about 9?
That is correct. Next question. What is the thinnest layer of Earth?
Crust.
Yes, sir. That's correct. Name the only continent which spiders do not exist.
Antarctica.
That is also correct. And our last and final question. Name the capital city of Oklahoma.
Tulsa.
That is incorrect.
Yeah, I know. Oklahoma City. I don't know.
That's correct. Yeah.
I drove through
Oklahoma
it
City.
several times.
Yeah.
I like Tulsa better.
That's 3 for 5.
Yeah.
It's
Tulsa.
still impressive.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Tulsa.
impressive.
Tulsa's a good.
Yeah, that's a big
that's
city.
a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen to it.
Oh, well. Who's it made by? You
I don't
remember?
know.
All right.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
He has a record right now. 3 for 5.
Really? He has a record?
Yeah.
If I'd have thought just about 2 seconds more, I'd have got that Oklahoma City. After I start thinking about 35, highway that runs through it, north and south.
Yes, sir. Well, hopefully, we'll have you on. Oh, I won't. We won't. But next year or a year after that, somebody else will have you on, and hopefully you'll get it right. It might run back the same questions. Who knows? Well, for all of you tuning in, we really appreciate you for tuning in to the Eagle Experience, where we always keep it 100.